The first few weeks of your weight loss journey feel super empowering and exciting, and you feel like a superhero with the ability to resist unhealthy temptations and make great food choices. But over time, your old habits start to creep back into your life. Before you know it, you're making excuses, skipping meals, snacking uncontrollably, and having thoughts about food running in your head 24/7. Eventually, it becomes more and more painful to keep up with your healthy food choices. You start to feel drained and exhausted, like you're running out of steam. And now every time you try to get back on track with your new habits, something gets in your way and you again are forced to get the calorie-loaded takeout. You tell yourself that you start again on Monday. This is frustrating. What is happening? It's like there is something that doesn't want you to succeed. And you are right. There is something. It's your non-existent system. That means no organized routine, no foundation on which to build your healthy eating habits. You're not ahead of the curve with your food choices, so you always feel behind. Planning and organization go way beyond self-discipline, self-control, willpower, motivation, whatever you call it. Planning and organization is more important, and it actually gives you the ability to stay more disciplined. And this is why in this video, I will give you a step-by-step guide on how to plan your meals. And it's a skill that you can learn in a matter of weeks, while others will keep struggling for years. You choose your path. I'd say let's start. Step 1. If you want to track calories, then the first step to creating your meal planning routine is to figure out your daily caloric needs. And therefore, you can use an online calculator. I provide a link in the description box below. Now, once you have figured out how many calories you should be consuming every day to lose weight, you now can build a plan around your specific guidelines. Also, my next video will be a step-by-step guide on how to start tracking calories. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do it now to not miss the video. Now, whether you're tracking calories or just want to have a more organized approach to healthy eating, move on to step 2. And that is deciding how many meals you want to plan for how many days. In the beginning, I recommend to start with one meal and building up as you become more comfortable and confident with the habit. Therefore, choose your trigger meal. It is a meal that you tend to skip, delay, or make poor food choices at on a regular basis. For me personally, it's lunch. When I am very focused at work, I tend to delay lunch. I delay it until I'm overly hungry, and then of course, I make poor food choices that are controlled or driven by my survival instincts rather than my conscious mind. And of course, my body then chooses calorie high, sugary, and fatty foods because it believes that we're about to starve. So if I know that a not prepared lunch is my downfall, then I have to pay attention to have it prepared and planned 90% of the time. I recommend preparing 3 to 5 lunches at the most to ensure the freshness of the food that will be made for at least 5 days. I think you should put at least 2 or 3 in the refrigerator and the rest in the freezer, and then what you're going to do is you're going to defrost them in the refrigerator the night before you're going to eat them. Okay, Ina, all nice and good, but what if I'm not just preparing for myself, but for my whole family? That means also for my children. Right, then it is very important that you make sure you aren't eating different foods and you don't have to create recipes especially for yourself and cook something completely different for your family, because this is the opposite of convenience. And this is a horrible option for your long-term success. But my peeps only want to eat nuggets and fries. Well, then I have to say that you as a whole family must make that change. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to stick to a healthy diet when you're the only family member who is interested in that. Your children may not like this change at first, but it's not about how the food tastes now. It's about how life will taste to them later. Their health and their quality of life in the future is in your hands. So you as a mother have the responsibility to make sure this change is attractive to them. It's not easy, but it's possible and definitely necessary. Now, let's go on and calculate your portions together. So you decide to plan lunches for Monday through Saturday because you go out on Sunday. So that's 6 days and there are 4 of you in your family. So you multiply 6 by 4. That's 24 servings of whatever you want to cook. And that's where we come to our next step: finding recipes. Make sure you choose recipes that are simple and convenient with a decent amount of ingredients that you won't have to hunt around your town for. Recipes that have a short cooking time, minimal prep work, and one pot or one pan meals. Choose popular go-to recipes that are healthy or that you have made many times and that you and your family enjoy. Ask friends for their go-to recipes. Join a group of women on a weight loss journey and ask them, or just search the internet. There are tons of options. And because I'm very nice, I've created a list of popular healthy lunch recipes for you. To access this list, just follow the link in the description box. And here, choose a maximum of 2 to 3 recipes and divide them into portions. Ew, math again. I know, but it's actually pretty easy. Let's do this together again. You already figured out that you need to plan for 24 servings, right? Now, let's choose 2 recipes and divide 24 by 2, it's 12. So we now have 12 servings of each recipe. Now that you found the recipes and calculated the portions, it's time to actually write them somewhere down, right? So I've created a meal plan template for you. Just follow the link below. Now a pro tip. You can laminate it and use it every week without having to print it or use it on your phone. You can fill in the fields digitally. Or if you prefer to use a tracking app like MyFitnessPal, plan your meals there. Both options are fine. You just have to figure out which one works best for you. And now this is what it will look like. I plan chili for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I plan chicken wraps for Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. The next step is to make a shopping list of the ingredients you will need for the week. And try to stick to your list when you go shopping to avoid impulse buys. It's now time to decide whether you want to pick a specific day and time to prepare your meals or if you want to cook every day. In my experience, it really depends on how much time you can devote to cooking each day, whether you work from home or not, whether you work at all, what recipes you choose, and whether you enjoy cooking on a daily basis. But for most busy women, cooking every day is too much of a chore that takes too much time and effort. So preparing meals once or twice a week is more manageable. You must choose what works for you. Now, if you're checking calories, how to calculate them and divide the meal into portions when cooking chili, lasagna, one pot or one skillet meals when it's not as straightforward as weighing grilled chicken breast and pasta, so separate foods. And here's a step-by-step example. And I definitely recommend doing this in your tracking app because you can create whole meals with all the ingredients and it'll calculate the calories for you. Here we use MyFitnessPal. Now the first step is to measure the pot or pan you'll be cooking in. This is important because we will later subtract the weight of the pot to find the total weight of the food you're cooking. Once we know how much the whole pot of chili weighs, we'll be able to portion it out. Now weigh each ingredient separately and be sure to include any cooking oil or spray you use in your recipe. It's important to make it accurate since a tablespoon of olive oil is 120 calories, so we should not skip that. So the third step is then in MyFitnessPal, you have to click on the menu and go to recipes, meals, and foods. Then click on the create a recipe button and select enter ingredients manually. Title the recipe and enter 1 serving for now. Click next at the top right and then add ingredients. Now search or use the barcode feature to enter everything in your recipe and make sure it's all correct. Now cook all the ingredients in a recipe and then get the total weight in grams of all the cooked foods in your recipe. Subtract the weight of any Tupperware, skillets, or containers you found in step 1. Now change your servings to the number of grams you found in step 6. Save the recipe. It is now in your database. Now, when you're ready to eat, weigh 1 serving in grams of how much you want to eat and change the number of servings to the weight in grams, log it, and enjoy. In the future, all you have to do is just to weigh the grams, so of the serving you want to eat, and this is then the number of servings. Now, if you're thinking about how to balance all the macros, so proteins, fats, and carbs, honestly, I wouldn't recommend getting into it right away because it can be overwhelming. But if you say, Ina, I'm good. I want to do this, okay? Well, right, it's up to you. In the beginning, especially focus on getting enough protein. So let's say you can try to get 1 gram of protein per pound of your desired body weight. If you want to weigh 150 40 pounds, try to get around 130 to 140 grams of protein per day. And to make sure you get enough protein, build your meals around protein and look for recipes that include protein-rich foods like meat, fish, tempeh, beans, etc. Yes, you will have to put some work in, but that is a lifelong skill. You need a few weeks to learn, and it will get easier. I promise. Look for recipes in advance for the following week. So for example, you don't have to sit there on a Sunday for 1 whole hour and look for recipes, because then you will feel overwhelmed. You know, you have to get the ingredients, you have to go for groceries, and then you also have to cook. Tomorrow is already Monday. Don't do that. Try to create the plan already on a Thursday or a Friday, because that way you will realize you have enough time to go for groceries and maybe also prepare meals. Allow yourself to be a beginner. Value progress over perfection and focus on the learning process instead of just on your goal. I promise it will be so much more fun. And start ASAP. A day after watching this video, you still might be interested in this routine, but we all know how it will end when you procrastinate. After a week, we forgot about what we heard and we then find ourselves in our old messy structure with the same obstacles and correspondingly with the same or no results. Don't be afraid to take more control of your life. I promise it'll pay off. See you in the next video. Stay awesome.